welcome to the My Mom Has Tourette's podcast. This week, we found out that one of our mothers did hardcore illicit street drugs when they were a child and was not apologetic about it. I'm Andrew.
I'm Nathan.
I guess we're lost. I'm Josh.
And I'm Andrew. So yeah, this week we definitely found out one of our mothers did some drugs. That was fun, but we're not going to disclose which for, privacy concerns. Anyways.
All of them.
Perhaps. Maybe it was one of those, like, mystery pill. Maybe it was like an in-game pickup and it was like mystery pill and then she just took it.
But in real life, so
know what it was.
It's not like a game.
Like the blue or red pill, and she
exactly
picked one of them.
She chose the blue pill.
How are we doing, ladies and gentlemen?
The blue ended up giving her Tourette's.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Goodness. That's canonically how one of our mothers has Tourette's now. It's official.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
All right. Yeah.
My gentle man.
Not too bad. You know what? Let's switch things up. Let's start with how Josh's week went.
Yeah,
usually we start with us because we have nothing.
It went butterific.
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 Right.
That's an interesting adjectives.
It's a long week.
It was only 7 days.
It was about the same length as other weeks.
Sometimes I wish somebody would throw a toaster at me while I'm in the bathtub.
I got you, fam.
I watched Talladega Nights, and they're like, the little kids are so terrible, and the grandma's like, I'm gonna beat you until I get the fact that you stop throwing the toaster at me when I'm in the bathtub. And I never caught on to that, terrible. And I was like, oh. Made pork downstairs right now. We're making smashed potatoes downstairs.
Nice.
I got a bonfire going outside right now.
Why are you doing the podcast today? It sounds like you're busy.
I told you I was busy.
Let's see if we can speed run this episode, boys.
We did that last week, but yeah, let's go for it.
All right, that's it. How are you guys?
That's uncommon. Oh man, I'm just great. All
right, that's enough time. I'm just kidding.
All right, Andrew, how are you doing?
I had a week. I went to work and then I came home, and then I either worked or I will talk about Valheim had another big update. The Ashlands update came out, and the last really big update was Mistlands, which was late 2022. So it's always a big deal when they have an update because it's the new biome, it's the new progression and everything. So when I've not been working or hanging out with my wife, I've been getting in on that action, and it's a real pain in the butthole, if I may use such terms. It's difficult, and it's a good time.
I bet a lot of our listeners all have the same question they want to ask you, and it's probably, when are you going to have kids?
Dang. I think Josh is trying to hint at something.
Well,
and if
I was going to wait until later in the episode,
you can see the gray hairs going on to Nathan's head currently.
Oh my gosh, look at it!
He's got a whole flock of.
Yeah, well, whenever you just bash the guy to have children on the podcast, he's probably grown a few extra right now.
Listen, I've had gray hair since I was 15, I think. So,
which is both impressive and unfortunate.
It's pretty funny to me. I can't wait till I'm fully gray. It's going to be awesome. Yeah,
it's
only slightly touching my beard.
I do remember you having gray when you were in youth group, so it's possible.
She's just being savage over here.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
I gotta hear it.
She said, "You're gonna be bald before you have fully gray hair."
Hey, let's go. Nathan's gonna be bald before me. Canon event.
I mean, that's not. I'm sorry, man, but
wow. Hold on. Shut the front door, Nathan.
Listen, what you just said to me, and I just said, I'm rubbing your glue, and now you can't take it back, huh? You can't take it when I dish it out. You can only.
I can take lots of things, but I can't take a friend being legitimately rude to me.
I wasn't legitimately
and you
rude.
Take a lot of things because of your size.
I love you.
I can take a few less things because I've lost some of my size. Yeah, that's like saying you love Josh's hair. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Well, I do love Josh's hair.
I'm going to shave it off tonight, so you only love it for a little bit.
Your beard?
No.
Oh. That'd be funny.
We need to do another... If we get new subscriber goal. If we reach 15 new subscribers by next episode of the
I will
podcast,
shave
Josh
my
is saving
beard
his beard.
off.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
If
glad we were on the same page.
I will
I
shave
will
my beard
too.
off if we can get somebody to run our social media full time and get us to 1,000 subscribers
Man.
in 2 months.
I would be awesome. We just can't. That's the problem. Is we can't really like pay someone to do that.
Well,
so you
this
got to have
beard
someone
is
who's
all-
just interested in helping. But
This
I-
beard is like 4 years long, so I'm
Yeah.
not just going to shave it off for some little
15 subscribers in a week.
Yeah, like, oh, I made a couple
Yeah.
TikToks for you. You got to shave it now. Like, nah, fam.
That's right. If Nathan and I are going to make a bunch of fake accounts to get Josh to shave his beard, it better be a big number.
Yep. And one of those accounts is going to be named Quank.
Quank.
Quank the
Bro,
prison
I hope
shank.
we get close to that goal, and then Quank pushes is the straw that broke the camel's
And then
back.
Quank says Nuggies.
Yeah.
I bet
Yeah,
Andrew's
buddy.
mom broke the camel's back. Hey.
Wow. Well, that's rude. Mom, I'm going to DM you Josh's address since I have it, so feel free to go beat him up.
Josh, we can't be doing that here. We love our mommies, all of our mommies, and we love
Indeed.
each other. All of our moms are in like a kind of like a feud, a bit of a feudal
Yeah.
state in a way. The three of our
Fragile
moms,
state.
we love our moms and each other's moms, but our moms hate the other moms, and they
Exactly.
all
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, they all live in a commune together, which I don't want to say too much because I don't want them to find out where they live. But
Newberry.
they live in different
You don't want them
areas
to find out
of
where
the
they live.
commune. So it's actually weirdly perfect. So the actual kind of like, it's sort of an apartment complex, but it's more like cultish in a way, and it's owned by some folks that I can't legally say on the podcast. But you DM me afterward, I just won't respond to it.
Monsanto.
But it's kind of like in a triangle shape, and one mom lives at each point of the triangle, and they're constantly like doing things to undermine the other moms and to try to get the upper hand. It's gotten violent recently. And this
Andrew's
is,
mom lives in
kind of why we
New
did this podcast in the
Mexico.
first place, because of this whole war going on. We're trying to bring them together.
Or we can feud the war and fuel it by having them each wear masks, and we live stream them all trying to play a video game, because I'm sure they're all terrible. Like, put them in a
We should
private
get our
Call of
moms
Duty
to play
server.
Not
Truth
let
or
them
Drink.
know each of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
We should trap them in a, what are them, breakout rooms?
Escape room?
Yeah, we should get all three of our moms in an escape room.
Josh, your inclination to violence immediately is kind of impressive.
I mean, I don't know if there was violence there, but there will be violence once they're in that
Yeah,
room.
I'm not saying they're
Yeah.
going to be violent, like, because if anyone's mom's going to be violent, it's going to be your guys's. My mom's just going to be like, why can't we get along?
No, your mom is gonna she's gonna say things. She's gonna be the instigator. That's
So
what I feel like.
between 10% and 99.5% of the story I told may have been a lie, and you are allowed to figure out, as the viewer or the listener, what percentage that was. And we won't confirm it for you. Josh,
12%.
beautiful, beautiful family. We love them.
Thank you.
Guest appearance
I made
by
it.
the sun. Love it. My week was overall all right. It sucks because I have our job laid off more people, and they decided they were going to keep like 6 people in the current positions that they were in. And so I got
That
like
sucks.
moved around to a different department, and now my schedule changed, and we had training last week. And when training was about done, they were like, "Hey guys, when you start on Monday, you get mandatory overtime. So I hope you like not having a life." I was like, "Well, that's cool. Just uproot everything from me. I appreciate that tremendously."
That sucks. I mean, at least you
Fun
didn't get
fact.
fired, but
Fun fact, I hope one of the new subscribers was someone that I work with, because I want this to get around the job site.
I agree.
don't
Burn
care.
down the establishment.
Whoa. Again, inclinations
Yeah, that
to
was a
violence
big-
is
that was-
very
that was a-
fast.
you just
I'm
knocked that wall
complaining.
right
You're-
over.
You know what? I respect it, though. Don't talk about it, be about it. And Josh
Yeah,
is
no,
about
that's fair.
Exactly.
That's fair. He's a man of action.
Indeed he is. Well, I suppose if everyone's talked about their week, it is time for the next segment that we have.
Streaming news.
Naming news.
News. Naming
Alright, Article
goose.
1.
Naming goose.
Flatulence is a great thing to express yourself through your body.
I agree.
If you're wondering about the interesting looking fellas that are looming over our shoulders, well, we'll get into that soon.
Just not yet.
Okay, we're doing gaming news, ladies and gentlemen. All
Gaming
right.
news.
LOL. Let's do it. We watched Totoro earlier. It was wonderful.
Oh, nice.
My brother has been getting... Well, he talked us into watching the Studio Ghibli films. You've seen them, right?
No.
I've seen one of them.
Really?
Yes, and just recently,
Mr.
actually.
like
It was,
Secret Weeb hasn't seen the Ghibli
It
movies?
was...
Which one?
Yeah, I don't know. I never
Spirited
got...
Away was my favorite so far.
I think it was Spirited Away? Is that the one with, like, the
That's like a
twin
kidnapping.
witches or whatever? I think it was Spirited Away.
Twin witches.
Yeah, I think so. One of the other MCs is like a dragon.
I don't remember. What we've
I
seen...
saw Spirited Away. It was great.
We've seen Mononoke, Spirited Away. We just watched Totoro. We've seen Howl's Moving Castle, and one other.
I saw
Kiki's
somebody
Delivery
with a Howl's
Service.
Moving Castle hoodie yesterday.
Yeah. They're good though. They're really fun. They're just like absolutely out there.
Mm-hmm.
I like them a lot, but we've been just once in a while just watching those. So that's something that happened. This is all definitely part of gaming news. So just pulling up the articles here. And we're going to start off here, and we're going to end off with a Fallout article. Well, I guess there's 2 Fallout articles, but we're starting off with something a little bit about Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is a television show, Nathan, you're saying. Well, listen, I need you to trust us. We're not going to talk about television shows and gaming news. We're going to talk about games and gaming news. So if you have these problems with the podcast, take it up with
I'll
our
break your
superiors.
legs, punk.
Inclination to violence number 3.
Josh, we're going to have a talk after the podcast. We're going to have a nice long discussion about your
Violence is the
inclination
key.
to violence.
Going to rehab.
Rumor, the Finals dev reportedly making Game of Thrones game. So the Finals is a game that exists, and I've never heard of it before reading this article, so I can't say anything about it.
Really?
Yeah, we did because we talked about it.
Yeah,
It
we
came out
talked
for
about
free. It's a MMO.
Sure, it's an
It's
MMO.
wrong. It's
There we go.
yeah.
And
Anyway.
the developer is Nexon.
Fighter.
And looks like this game came out last December, the Finals, and so they are. Well, it's a rumor. I don't know how true it is or not, but Game of Thrones has had video games adaptations in the past, but mostly like mixed reviews from fans. Like never really was anything like amazing. And so apparently, it's a report by Redanian Intelligence that Nexon, the developer of the Finals, is working on a new Game of Thrones MMORPG, which is pretty cool. I can imagine some interesting things done in that world with in the video game format. I just hope it's made well. I need to look into the Finals because I know you're saying we talked about it, but my dumb brain doesn't
because
remember
they
that.
released it for free, and then we were like, "Oh, okay."
And then that was it. We're like, oh, cool, it's free. Let's not care anymore.
What? Okay.
Pretty much how it worked.
But yeah, so that's a thing that's going to be maybe happening. So cool. You guys seen Game of Thrones?
Yes.
I watched the first episode, and that was about it.
Nice.
I've played. There is a Telltale Games of Game of Thrones. It's pretty good, though.
There's a Game of Thrones Telltale game? No way. Really?
Pretty slick. Yeah.
How many games have they made?
They made
There's
quite a
Walking
bit.
Dead, there's Game of Thrones, there's Wolf Among Us. What else?
There's, I know there's Jurassic Park. There's Batman.
I need to play all of these.
They're fun. They're a good time.
I need to just watch for them on being on like really cheap sale and then pick them up and play them because I enjoyed Wolf Among Us a lot. Ugh.
Oh, they have a. I
ASMR,
think they
Josh.
might also have a Guardians of the Galaxy one. I could be wrong.
Oh, that's
they have a
cool.
Borderlands one.
Really? I own those games on Steam and I've never played them. There's so many games out there that I know I would love. I've just never taken the time to do it. It's a problem.
Fair.
All right, so this article comes from, well, really all of these come from Game Rant because that's where Josh seems to pick his sources, but it comes from Game Rant. Next Fallout game may release sooner than expected. The Fallout franchise is surfing a heady wave of popularity thanks to the Amazon show, and Xbox reportedly wants to capitalize on it with a new game. A new report claims Xbox is aware of the hype surrounding the Fallout franchise, is looking to expedite development of its next entry. So there's been the original Fallout, Fallout 2, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, the MMO RPG. And I think that's it, unless you count like Fallout Shelter, which I don't. And that would be, it's been a while. It's like a 9-year-old game is Fallout 4. And Bethesda is sitting here on Fallout 4, 9 years old. And Skyrim, the last Elder Scrolls game, it came out November 11th, 2011, good old 11/11/11. And there's not been another Elder Scrolls game since. That's what people are really hoping to see. But I wouldn't even be surprised now if they went to a new Fallout game next, just because this show came out. I still haven't finished it. I've seen the first 2 episodes. I've just been busy, but it's really good so far. I like it a lot. So I'm down for a Fallout 5, especially now that we started Fallout 4 for this podcast. It seems really fun. It feels very much like Skyrim, but in this world. It's a Bethesda game, and how Bethesda games be if you've played any of them. So that is a pretty cool. Oh, wait. Creative director Todd Howard also confirmed back in 2022 that Fallout 5 is next up after Elder Scrolls 6. I didn't know that this was actually put out there, that they're planning on these things. Because you can say, like, oh, we would like to make them, but it sounds like that they are planning on making these. But it could still be a while before the next Fallout game comes out. I don't know. This is all speculation. It's just an article talking about with Xbox wanting to push for that, obviously, because now would be the time to start really working towards a new Fallout game. But they're pretty cool. I would like to play the originals just because I like I want to play the originals of Elder Scrolls 2 as well. Not 2.
Elder Scrolls.
Yep. And we're going into our third article, which also leads into a little rant by Josh. Fallout 4 players aren't happy about the game's ultra-wide support. So Josh is one of those weirdos who has this monitor that's wider than 1920 by 1080, good old 16 by 9, and it's like, here's a 16 by 9, it's like the size of this, and Josh's is like, all right, I'm going to scoot this over. Josh's is like, okay, all the way over here, and then I'm going to scoot it over again, and all the way over here. And it about takes up a whole wall of his house, and that was a lie, but it's really wide. And a lot of games, do a good job with ultra wide.
Takes up a good section of the wall.
Yeah,
I can send you a picture of my 3 monitor setup.
Yeah, it's pretty great. But Josh, do you want to talk about this a little bit?
So the reason I'm going to talk about it is because it's going to lead into the first notes that I have for our new game Fallout. Okay. Started up the game, and this is part of the reason I didn't like Fallout 3, is I've had that game for years, but every time I'd go to play it, it was weird because it was an older game, didn't fit my computer. And let's start Fallout 4, and it goes to, the game pops up, and then it's only on the left top corner of my screen. Maybe like my computer screen's like this big by this big, and the game is this big up over here. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'll just go into the settings and change the aspect ratio, make it full screen and everything. Well, they don't have an aspect ratio for how big my monitor is. The aspect ratio for my monitor is 3440 by 1440. I have an ultra-wide curved monitor. So I'm like, crap, I'm not playing this game with it stuck in the left corner of my screen. Me playing over here like this, trying to do the mouse. So then I was
Josh
like,
and his
well,
first world problems.
Yes. So then I was like, I don't know what to do. So then I had to start researching, going on the Reddit, seeing everything. And apparently there was no support for ultra-wide. Bethesda said, you know what? There's not a lot of people doing ultra-wide right now. We're not even going to put support in for the game.
For good reason.
So I had to watch YouTube videos of going into my Fallout 4
like
documents.
Files.
Yeah, the files. Go into documents, find the game. And then you got to change it to borderless, full screen, and something else. Find that, change it to whichever one you want. So I like borderless because I can alt tab out of it and the game won't minimize. And then once I did that, then you have to change the aspect ratio to what you need it, and then you got to save it. And then I messed up at first because somebody made too depth of a tutorial, and what they were showing me, I didn't realize that the aspect ratio was switched.
Oh.
And then for the next step they did, they switched it again, where mine was this way and then this way. So then I messed that up, and I'm like, it's still not working. So when I loaded the game was so full screen that the words were like little slivers of green light across the screen. So then I'm like, all right, now I messed the game up and I can't play.
You had a lot of trouble just starting.
Yeah, it took
this
probably
game.
half hour to an hour.
That's awesome.
So finally, I found there was a mod for full screen. I'm like, all right, I'll just
Really?
watch. I'll put a mod in. Well, then I don't even know how to do the mod system because it was like you have to download this and then you have to download a mod manager, and I'm like, what? Okay. So then, come to find out, to get to the point where you use the mod manager, he was going through the same steps that the other YouTube videos were doing. Well, he only did half of the step. So I followed his step. Well, then I realized that my aspect ratio on my notepad, where you change it, instead of it being width and height, it was height and width, and I didn't realize that.
That's
So then I changed that, and as soon as I did that, the game loaded up correctly the first time, and it's been
Don't
working
touch
ever
it.
since. So
well, I'm glad it's
been,
working for you now.
Yeah, it was annoying. Took about a half hour
Sounds
to an
annoying.
hour to get that done, and then once it was done, I was able to play.
So what prompted you to get an ultra wide monitor? It just sounds like a pain.
So I got it because it was an ultra wide curved monitor.
Mm.
And when I got my very first PC, I did a lot of research into everything that I wanted before I did it. And at that time, the curved TV screens were like real popular and coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what's the point of a curved TV screen? Like, what the heck do you even do with that? And so I did research, and they said, if you're going to watch TV from far away, it's not worth having a curved TV screen.
You mean a
But
monitor?
Well, no, I'm talking
Actually
about the
curved
research.
TV? Okay.
Yeah. So the research started that if you have a curved TV, if you're sitting in like the back of the room, like a movie theater kind of setup,
Yeah.
but you have like a 70-inch screen, the curved won't do anything for you. It's pointless. It's worthless.
Yeah.
But the closer you sit to it, the more in depth, the more engaging it is, because instead of it being flat, it's kind of curved around your peripheral. So the closer you sit to it, the more engaging it is.
Have you
I was
noticed
like,
that
I have.
since you've
I
used
will
it?
never get something that's not curved.
Josh, when he's
Really?
playing games now, sitting
Yes.
this close.
No, I sit normal. Well, so that it translates to a computer. When you're at the computer, you're pretty close. I'm not sitting up like this, like, okay. I'm sitting back, I'm lounging,
not.
looking at my screen. And it's definitely a difference because like it brings the corners around a little bit more. So I love it. I'm happy with it.
It's cool. All right. Well,
Coolio.
that leads us right into talking about our experience playing the first couple hours of Fallout 4.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
it does. No, that doesn't get a.
It did for me. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about what we thought so far. But I also want to get into our characters. What you're seeing behind us are the characters that the three of us made for the game. I modeled mine after a good friend of mine, Kevin Donaldson. It looks very similar to him
Looks,
in real life.
yeah, identical.
I think
Andrew
he's,
modeled his after his non-existent dad.
We need to make that a sound every time we get a good burn now. Just everyone going,
Josh, I don't know what Josh's
Mine,
Josh's character model is based off of his mother.
exactly. A bearded.
I could see
chocolatey
it a
man.
little bit.
A bearded, chocolatey man. That's
He's very
Josh's
beautiful.
mom.
The player creation was different than what I'm used to. I did like trying. I thought I was like one point trying to turn him to look at different things. At the same time, I was like clicking through the selection, but then I didn't realize like I clicked on the chin and started making the chin bigger. And then I'm like, well, what the heck is going on? Why did that just change? And I'm like, I don't. Then I realized like you can click on the face and it's like
the different
like you can go like
sections.
this and this and this and this, and I'm like.
So there's
All
a
right,
ton
so
of
then-
different options
yeah.
in the character creator. Like you can actually, I'm gonna bring my mouse onto the screen for this, so you can like.
The only
click-
thing that I did on purpose was his beard. That was the biggest beard that I could really find.
That's pretty crappy.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
There were like huge beards. What are you talking about?
I didn't see him. Maybe I just didn't.
Maybe
notice
they
I don't think
didn't
you
fit on the
scrolled
aspect
down.
ratio of your first world problem of having this awesome ultra widescreen display.
Could be.
His beard's
would-
off to
I
the
would
right
love
about
a
6
game.
feet at all
there's
times.
like big bushy beards.
No, I missed it. Can I go back? Is there like a barbershop in
There
game?
probably is. I mean, we can look into
I'd
it, but you
imagine.
should definitely make him big and bushy. I love my mutton chops though. I think they're really nice. And then
I
the
was really
comb-over.
close to getting those mutton chops. I wanted to, but then I
just-
was like,
I
you know
think
what? I
they're-
love this little
Yeah, no, I
curly
like
Q
what you have
action he's
going
got
on
going
here.
on.
I like what you have going on there. All right, so basically you can like click on the middle of the nose and then either like pull it down, up, left, and right in like basically like a circle or a square from the middle, and then you can go on like the bridge of the nose, the sides, underneath the eyes, both eyelids. There's like middle eyebrows, right and left eyebrows, center eyebrows, just straight up forehead. There's 3 portions of the ears you can change the size and placement of. It's wacky. Like it was pretty for 9 years ago. It was a really good character customization. People have made.
It was.
stuff
I
in
was
it.
impressed. Very
Um,
impressed.
Yeah, I was.
And I must admit, you must have looked at those ear sliders and was like, dog, my dude Kevin over here is going to have the most massive ear I can find.
Is
I
he trying to
looked-
fly away?
at every slider, and I said, "How big can I make this?" And if you can see, Andrew's guy is kind of chunky. So is mine.
Yeah, look
I
at that
said-
belly.
There's
Belly.
a triangle that says
Okay, that is
Fit,
one thing that
or,
I
like,
did not like.
muscles, thin, and fat, and I just dragged it to fat. What, Josh?
Same, I said that.
I couldn't find a very good mix of like a very muscular dude who was still kind of overweight. That's
So
that's
Josh
what I was
just
trying
went
to go
straight
for.
jacked.
Nice.
I was like, well, I'm just gonna get jacked.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he needs it. My guy is he's getting through on charm with a 1 charisma. So, basically, when you start the character, then we kind of talk a little bit about how things begin. So there's a cutscene at the beginning of the game, and it's
Before we get to that cutscene,
Yeah,
we
that's
have
fine.
to acknowledge the fact that while you're creating your character, your wife there or husband, I don't know if it changes if you go to a female or how that works. However, in this iteration, we have a wife. And the whole time you're making this, I'm going to point at Nathan's character, this
Yeah.
monstrosity. The whole
over here.
time she's like, I absolutely love the complexion of your skin. You are looking so handsome today. And I'm just like, bro, she's such a liar. I look like garbage.
I wonder what she saw in Nathan.
His personality, that's for sure.
Well, I've been through a lot. If you can't tell by the blemishes and the scars.
I really thought those scars were like cherry blossom tattoos, and then I was like, no, those are burns.
No,
Those are
I
burns.
actually there
It's
was
eczema.
an option at the end for every kind of blemish and scar, and I said yes, 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 yes to every single one of them, and this is how it turned out. I was pretty happy with it. And it's like black eyes and everything. You can see it's really dark around his eyes. It's beautiful.
He's
I
a
think
little
he
soulless.
looks like, imagine you're I kind of gave him a clown nose. It was like sunburnt or something, and that was an option. So I said yes because I said yes to all of them. But yeah, it kind of worked out. And the cutscene is basically you load up the game, you say, okay, I want to start playing the game, and then it goes into this, and it's war. War never changes, and then it's I think is it supposed to be your character talking? From
It sounded like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it sounded
Because he went to war, he fought, and then he came home.
Okay. Yeah.
I skipped that cutscene. I'm a horrible person.
I thought you liked
I just
story
wanted to create
games.
my character.
What?
I do. That's why I said I'm a horrible person.
I'm very
I'm getting the
surprised
story
to hear
now,
that.
but like, yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to create him, so I was
I'm
like, let's get
mildly
past this
offended
nonsense.
by your decision there, but we
Wow.
move forward. So the cutscene goes right into dude staring in the mirror, and you can choose between dude or dudette, and you make your dude, and you make him however you want, and then sure, that wasn't assumed or implied. And then you basically confirm, and it lets you start playing the game. So you'll walk around, you're just in a house with your wife or your husband and your child sleeping in a crib, and you kind of can just start playing the game. You go around, it gives you options to like click on lots of things, and then you just talk about, like, he's kind of like talking to himself, but your character just, you learn a little bit about them, about their little world here, as you go around and you interact with things in the house. And you can go in to the living room, and there's a robot called Cogsworth there, and it's very quickly understood that he basically takes care of a lot of the things around the house that normal people don't like to have to do. And I put it over there.
Cogsworth is a G.
Yeah, Cogsworth is an actual hero. But he even like takes care of the baby when he cries and stuff, and he does your laundry for you. He's just he's a slave.
I need a Cogsworth in my life that's a robotic person.
Anita Cogsworth, first and last name. But no, I think that would be awesome. I want robot slaves, and because then you don't have to feel bad about enslaving like people, like lots of people who have been enslaved in the past, because they're just robots.
Can we please explain to people who've never seen the TV show or have never played the game?
Yeah, we'll explain like what's going on.
What it looks like?
Premise. Yeah, we will.
Because keep in mind, this thing is taking care of your child.
So
with saw blades.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like it's hard to explain. He like floats. He hovers. He's not like on the ground, and I don't know. Listen, I'll just throw up a picture there. Bang, there. I threw up a picture of him. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, for all you audio-only listeners, too bad.
He looks like, I don't know how to explain, bro. Honestly, I mean, I can hear. Let me look it up right now.
He's a metal sphere.
Yeah.
With many attachments and like 3 camera lenses for us.
There we go. Yeah. So he has multiple camera lenses poking. Like it looks like they're coming out of his. Looks like they can actually like go back
retract
into the sphere.
Into himself,
they retract and everything. He has like multiple arms. One has like a saw blade on the end. One has like a little pincher. And his cameras are kind of evenly spaced in a way to almost look like their eyes looking at you. And he's just kind of like a hunk of crazy like.
A hunk of beautiful man.
Yeah, well, really though. It looks like he has 3 cameras and 3 arms from what I can see, but he floats, and I don't know how that works, but it's pretty cool. He's a slave, and I love slaves. So we then move toward the future. The future is rather bleak because, well, things have been happening in this. It's what, like 2070 something, 2077 was that it? It's like the future of our world. Wasn't that the case? What year is it? Do you guys know?
I don't remember the year, but I do remember how we got to where we were. Cause you kind of skipped over that, but like, yeah, the whole premise is like
you missed
you're just
everything that
living
happened.
a normal day, I guess, like a normal day, and then there's going to be like nuclear fallout.
No, the current. It's not like modern day. It's the future of our world before everything happens.
It's weird. It is a weird. So it's the best way to explain it is like it's the 60s from the future.
Yeah, I don't know why everything's like it is.
It's
odd.
like it's the Cold War era.
Yeah,
but there's
America and Russia
floating robot slaves
to nuke each other, but they somehow have this fantastic technology for fusion cores, sci-fi technology that you incorporate with like the future stuff,
which does lend to a really interesting is it, I don't even know if it's kind of steampunky in a way, but very interesting aesthetic overall for the game, where it's a lot of things. There's like old style cars and everything like that, but it's supposed to be like 2077 or something like that, I'm pretty sure. Let me just look it up. I don't want to just give up.
I think
What
27. I don't
year
know.
is it in the beginning of Fallout 4? It is 2077. Yeah, October 23rd, 2077. So Fallout 4 story begins on the day the bombs dropped. So, these big superpowers have nuclear weapons, and this is what happens. The story is what happens when all of the world's superpowers decided to use them against each other. And
No.
so
Josh is like, you're wrong.
actually,
Actually.
Like, are we going to explain what actually happened? Or are we
sure,
gonna
that's
keep it
fine, but I'm gonna finish the day at least. So you
Okay.
you're talking to Cogsworth and blah 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 stuff. It's just a normal day in your life. The TV is kind of talking about like war, but it's not anything
baby's
like actively
crying.
happening. Yeah, the baby's crying. Sure, babies cry. And then some dude shows up at your door and he's like, "Hello, I'm from Vault Tech, and we have a spot saved for you if you're interested." And you can have this conversation with him, and you get dialogue options in this game like Telltale and other games of this nature where you can tell him, hey, go screw yourself, buddy, or you can be like, "Oh yeah, I'm interested, tell me more," and anything in between. So I kind of talked to dude and I was like, "Yeah, sure, tell me about this." And he was like, "Yeah, we have a spot for you in our vault." And so it kind of opens up the world a little bit because you hear talks of war on the TV, and then this dude shows up and there's a big vault that they have a spot for you and your family in, and dude's like, "Oh yeah, you can't take Cogsworth though, of course," which is very sad. But so obviously you want to take care of your family, so if that's an option, like, cool and stuff. And not long after that, well, I think you're talking to the dude, and then you come back in, and what exactly happens? Like the television, they start reporting what's going on.
Well, you do whatever you do with the dude.
Yeah.
And so, like, in my case, I was like, yeah, well, I'll take a vault. And he's like, "Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll take this right to them.
Yeah.
And then he leaves, and then you kind of like talk to the wife. I think the baby cries, and you go see him. And then all of a sudden on the TV, it's a news broadcast, and the guy says that the nukes have started dropping.
So before we move into that, I do want to say, when you're talking to the dude, that's whenever it gives you the option. You're giving him your application, and you're telling about yourself. And what you're telling is you have 25 skill points, and you can put them in
25. I only had 21.
21 skill points, and you can put them in any amount.
I did something wrong. It's like, hold the phone.
So all Fallout 4 attributes. So there is perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, luck, agility, and strength.
How many is that total? 7?
It's 7, and it gives you start off with 21 points. You start off with level 1 in each, so if you put 9 points into one, you would be at level 10, and 10 is max. So you could max out 2 of them, and then you would have 4 points or 3 points for the next one, so you could have a level 4 if you maxed out 2, which is what I did. So strength increases your melee damage and your carry weight. Perception increases accuracy in the VATS system, which is something we'll talk about in the future. Endurance increases your max hit points, and your action points spent while sprinting will be lowered, so you can sprint longer, essentially. Charisma is for speech check persuasion chance, so you can persuade people easier. For settlement size, so whenever you build a settlement later on, I guess you can have a bigger settlement with charisma. And also price reduction in shops, which is pretty useful. Now, intelligence, which is used for ease of hacking into terminals, and also for experience point gain. Agility is for your maximum action points, and also its refresh rate, ability to sneak, and ability to pickpocket. And also there's luck, which luck is, I guess, just for critical hit recharge, but that must be really good because that's all it is. Regardless, when you put points into these, it just the one thing I did look into is how much it actually matters, because I did put 10 in intelligence for my character. I maxed out his intelligence, so he gets 30% more experience than someone with a level 1 intelligence. No, it's 3% per, so actually I think it's 27% more, which is not like game breaking, but it's nice. Like, honestly, the way I looked at it
I can imagine.
I want extra experience, because then I can get extra levels and points in the future quicker than had I not. and it's a small amount, but it's enough. But I didn't know, the game doesn't say that it lets you hack easier, so that's pretty cool. I'm more happy that I made that decision. Other than that, I put 10 points in endurance. So I have maximum, like,
My
maxed
man's
out,
never gets tired.
maxed out hit points, and I can sprint much farther because it uses fewer action points. And then I had 3 points left over, and I threw them in strength so that I had extra carry weight and had better melee damage. And this is something that you can, I don't know if you can remove them later, but you can change, like you can always add more. As you level up, you gain experience. I mean, you gain experience as you level up, you gain a point for each level. Those points can either be used to get, like, add a point to one of these 7 statistics, one of these 7 attributes of your character, up to maximum of 10. So I could add a level up point to strength, and I could be level 5 if I wanted to. However, each attribute has a series, I think it's like 10. I'm not certain, but I think it's like 10 perks that you can unlock. And let's say the level 10 perk, you would need to have level 10 of that attribute. So it's like 1 to 10, and each, like, level of your attribute allows you to unlock with a point the next perk of that attribute, if that makes any sense. But basically, I could unlock the 1 to 10 of the intelligence perks. I think you have to do it in order, though. But yeah, so that's a thing, and I quickly learned that I wish I had done some in perception, because perception allows you to unlock more locks. So you can pick locks in this game. There's beginner, advanced, expert, and master locks. And I think master locks is like 8, 9, or 10. I'm not super worried about that, but I at least wanted to be able to do advanced locks, and I realized that I would not be able to unlock that for a little bit. So I have put my first 2 points in, one in perception and one in, I think, the first attribute, which is like lock or thieving from people easier. You can pickpocket them. So I'm working toward that's my first goal, is to work toward being able to unlock advanced locks, because I found, I think, at least 2 so far, and I was sad that I couldn't open them. Do either of you want to go next and talk about what you did with your character?
Go for it, Josh. What'd you do?
I wasn't sure exactly what everything really did, so I went the very extreme safe route and put exactly 4 points into all 7.
Nice. I was wondering if one of us was going to do that.
I watched a TikTok, because now, like, TikTok is blowing up with, like, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Fallout New Vegas videos, and what I don't remember exactly how the video went, but basically he said don't max out any stats because it's not worth it. Like, you can get them up to like level 8 or level 9, and then you can find items that'll increase them by themselves.
Yeah, that's actually a thing. Yeah. So from my understanding, there's actually a maximum of 17 intelligence you can have in the game. I did look. I was curious about the maximum, because I know that if you eat mentats, it temporarily increases your intelligence by 2. And then there's, like, gear you can wear that ups it as well. So, like, you could technically get more experience from it. And I'm assuming all of the different stats have all of the different attributes have different gear you can wear that upgrades them. But Josh, if you were wearing, like, let's say I needed the level 10 intelligence perk, but I only had level 9, but then I wore something with +1 intelligence, would I then be able to unlock the perk for 10 intelligence without?
I don't know if it works that way, or if it's based off the stat itself.
I feel like it's probably based off of your actually unlocked perks.
Because, like, with RuneScape, you could have a lower level and then do, like, some kind of magic or wear some kind of armor or potion,
you can boost,
that leveled it for a certain amount of time, that would then allow
you could like make a rune chest plate at level 96 if you boosted it with, like, a dwarven stout or something like that.
Yes.
Like, you could basically get 3 levels temporarily and then make something that you wouldn't normally be able to. I don't know if it works like that in this. We're very early into this, but yeah. So you just went all across the board 4s.
Yeah, because I knew the very beginning that you can find 1 or 2 level upgrades. So I was like, I'll just put 4 into everything, and then go from there.
It lets you unlock any of the early perks. That's the thing. I can't unlock most of mine. So that's why I had to put like a point in perception.
I
already.
don't. The only perk I have is Barbarian or something. I don't have any other perks.
Fair.
Nice.
Well, I'm also only level 3, so I've gotten 2 level ups.
I'm level 4. I'm really
I think
finding
I'm
out that
level 4.
endurance is something that I want to dump a lot of points
Yeah,
into.
it's nice having the extra hit points and being able to sprint a lot.
Not me, boys. I min-maxed to the worst that I could think of in the most fun.
Charisma.
And so I've never played a game like this I've never tried to min-max like that, but
That's awesome.
I start the game with 10 charisma,
Yes!
10 luck, and 4 intelligence.
You get
I
luck?
said 0 freaking physical points at all because I was like, I know this is an FPS and that stuff is important. I want to play the game without it.
Andrew, there's a thing called Idiot Savant. And if you keep
Yes,
your...
I know. I'm
Good,
so
okay.
excited for it. I'm trying to
Apparently,
get it.
if you keep your intelligence low and you use Idiot Savant, you're actually, it's like better. It's just better.
Yeah,
than
well,
high
that's what I was going to talk about. So, Idiot Savant, where go?
Which is in
I
the
think it's
luck
under
category. Yeah, so that works for you.
So let me go
hitting
to
all the
it.
critical
So,
hits, though.
Yeah, your random chance to receive multiplied XP bonuses, and it's better with the lower intelligence and the higher charisma or the
Pretty
higher
funny.
luck you have.
Pretty
So,
funny.
and I was that's why I was saying before we started that I wish I could make one slight change because I wouldn't have put any points into
Yeah.
intelligence. I'd have put it in something else. But, it works out though because that whole VAT system that I've been trying to mess with now runs off of intelligence, so it's decent that I put some into it, I guess. But
Does
yeah,
it?
I just went pure
I think
luck,
it's off
pure
of
charisma.
perception. I think it's
Oh, well.
off of perception.
Well, either way, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, do you think he'll be long? We can just talk a bit more about it if you want. But
we can continue. But yeah, so I really wanted to see how the game would play if I tried to turn it into a Telltale game as much as I possibly could.
yeah.
So there's like 0 combat stats that I have. What? Did I get anything in the... Let me look at the luck category real quick, because I think I got one thing from there. No, I just found Idiot Savant. Before I looked at that, I did get the 4-leaf clover, which takes 9 luck to unlock, and that adds a chance to fill your critical meter every time you use that VAT system, which is annoying because I put a point into that and I didn't even know how to use it until about 10 minutes before I was done playing. But I really want to get Ricochet because I have 10 luck, and that just enemy gunfire just randomly shoots back at them and it instantly kills them. And it's
So what do I
like,
have
this
to
would
do
be
to
great.
get perks?
Awesome.
Because I only
So
have the one.
you just go into... I'm afraid to tell you this because I feel like you're playing right now, Josh.
No, I'm not.
No, you just go into, when you level up, you don't have to... So you come with that skill tree. You don't
Yeah.
have to fill up the
more
first
like
one
a
and then
skill
go down.
apartment.
Yeah. You don't have to fill up the first one and then go down. You can just, as long as you have so the 4-leaf clover perk that you can get through the luck category, you just have to have at least 9 luck and then you can unlock the first rank of it. And then after that, it's based on how you're leveling.
I got a point from a bobblehead I found.
Mm-hmm. So did I. I can't remember which one it is though.
And I put it in. No, it's perception.
That might have been it. I think that's
And
the one I
then
found.
I found a magazine or something that gives you an attribute point.
Was that under the crib?
Yes. And I put that, I haven't been dumping it in the same thing, but when I go to my Pip-Boy, all I have is one perk, and it's Barbarian, and I don't even know what it does.
Interesting. It explains it when you unlock the perks.
Mm-hmm. So the other perks that I got through the charisma. I got the cap collector because I had a feeling, since I have 0 inventory space, that I need to sell stuff as fast as I can all the time. So I might as well just get boatloads of money for it.
Yeah, sorry. We'll get into it, but
I got that, and the other one that I got was, I think it was Animal Friend. It was either it was Animal Friend. So now my dog just goes around pacifying or controlling enemy animals. It's pretty interesting.
Mine
pretty
fights
cool.
everything.
Yeah. Oh, I also got Local Leader. That was the third one I got. No, I didn't. I'm a liar. I got Inspirational because I figured if I can't do damage, my any of my companions will. So I'm going to be relying heavily on old dog meat to kill everything.
He's a good boy.
He's the
All
best
right,
of boys.
so good stuff. So we had 2 people min-maxing and 1 person going fully average across the board.
Well, I'm not
And,
gonna start at average. As I get
Yeah.
more with the them perks and stuff, I'm gonna start seeing what I like to do more, and then grabbing other perks.
Yeah. So anyway, basically after the dude leaves your house and you've given him your name, which is when you name your character, and also you tell him your attributes, which is like signing up for the vault or whatever. He ends up running off, and now you have a place in the vault. Cool. Then Cogsworth comes running to your baby because good old baby is crying, and he ends up coming back to you and being like, yeah, he won't shut up. And then so you end up going and helping him, and you spin his little mobile. Is that what it's called? Okay.
I think so.
Over his crib, and you calm him down. And that's whenever the news reports start on the television about, I think your wife calls
Which,
you in.
talk about things escalating quickly. I just went to go see what my son's doing, and then it's dying.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I don't think there's any way for a nuclear bomb dropping to not happen quickly, but
True.
yeah, it feels very not, I think rushed, but rushed is like, I don't really think there was any reason to give you more than that for the beginning of the game. You've learned a little bit about his life. He has a wife, a child, a robot butler / slave, and he just lives in this little neighborhood. And
you weren't going to do much more in the house.
No, there was no
before
really
it needed to.
Yeah, but it's
on.
just wild how quickly everything changes. So you find out, you end up like the news is like, yeah, this is happening, and the bombs are dropping, and so you leave your house. Your wife grabs your kid. You guys leave Cogsworth behind at the house, and then you end up running up the street. Everyone else is leaving their houses and freaking out, and there's I think police and everything, and there's the people are kind of being like, yo, come this way to it's the vault, the vault tech people. They're trying to get the people in the vault.
Isn't there an air sign or something going off?
I think so, probably. I don't remember. But so you end up running around this dirt road, or maybe gravel road, up to where the vault area is, and you end up getting to a fence, and there's a dude standing at the fence. There's a big crowd of people outside the fence, and they're all like, let us in, and they're like, no, you're not admitted, you're not on the list, and stuff like that. So they're only letting people into the vault who are on the list. And the most last minute thing that could have happened to you in your life that kept you from just dying instantly here was that dude showed up and was like, hey, we have room for you. So you ended up being like, yo, we're on the list, and then you and your wife and your baby end up,
and it's hilarious because he literally is fighting to get in the gate, and handing the clipboard off that you just signed. But when you run up to the gate, so it's like you barely get in by this much.
Yeah, it is about last minute as you can get, and so you end up running up the hill, getting onto the platform, which is going to lower you down into the vault, and you're on there with 6 other of your neighbors. I don't even know if everyone made it. Who was supposed to be, which is ultra sad, but
which might be the first plot hole that I noticed, because if you're that 6 feet not even covered underground, I'm pretty sure you're still gonna die from that radiation, but that's just a guess.
I don't know enough about it to know how much.
I don't either, but I feel like that's
sure
not
affected
very
them,
protective.
But I don't know if it would have immediately. I don't know. You would think that it would penetrate through the earth there. It's not like it just.
I would imagine,
pass over you. But I think it was just meant for dramatic effect to be as last minute as possible.
Yeah,
I think you're supposed to just overlook that. Regardless, you get on the platform. It's about to start lowering down into the earth, and you just see off into the distance the first bomb hit in your area. And it's coming towards you. Great big flash of light, and it's very obviously, the hole. It's bigger than your thumb. Much bigger. It's pretty close. So platform starts descending, you and your wife, child, and 6 other neighbors, and it passes over your head. It might have been a little more than 6 feet. You were kind of a little deeper into it, but still, I get what you're saying. You survive. You make it down into the vault, and everyone else up there, they're gone. That's just it. You made it. There were a lot of personnel up there, and I don't know. They must have died. That must have just been that for them. That's wild, but
And if they didn't, they sure did by the time we woke back up.
Yes. So you get down into the vault, and there's personnel down in the vault. They're like, all right, we're going to take you into this room. Just follow us. And so you follow with your wife, and like the other people are going where they're supposed to. And then they say, all right, get into this pod so that we can. This whole thing is so sad, by the way.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this.
I know, it's insane.
Before you go any further, should we finish, or should we explain people the vault theory and the nukes and everything?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm not sure what you're talking about either. Well,
all the different vaults and the reasoning the nukes went off.
I don't know anything about that. No, but
I have nothing.
If that has anything to do with the show, I've only seen, like I said, like 3 episodes.
That's true. I haven't seen any.
So I can expand on this, but it's only if you guys think I should.
That's fine, but I want to rip the Band-Aid off first as to what happens here.
All right.
So you end up getting into this room, and the dude you were following is like, all right, we're going to get into this decontamination pod so that we can make sure you're clean of radiation and whatnot before we take you deeper into the vault. You
Liars.
get in, and then you see your wife holding her child, your child as well, gets into the one right across from you. There's like a glass window. You can see her. And then you hear, what you might expect with a decontamination pod. However, it becomes quickly apparent that it is a cryo chamber, and they are freezing you and your wife and everyone else who was down there.
And poor Sean.
And you don't really know exactly what's happening at first. It's like the transition is you get in. Yeah, it's super sad. You get in, door shut. That happens. The glass frosts up and you can't see anything. You can just see like frost. And then it kind of like it thaws a bit. And what you see is your wife and the other one across from you. You have no idea how long it's been. You would assume it's been about 5 minutes, if that, because you have really no clue what's happening. You weren't given a chance to. You were just cryogenically frozen. And these two people come up. It was a man and a woman, I think, and they end up opening her pod, thawing her out, opening her pod, and they start grabbing at your baby. And she's like, no, you're not taking my baby, obviously, as a mother would. And the guy pulls a gun and points at her head. And she still won't give up the baby. So he kills your wife in front of you. And they take the baby. And they leave.
Which was upsetting to me, not for the obvious reason, but I'm hoping they expound upon it later, because I was thinking to myself, this doesn't make sense that I can see this right now. Like, how come all of the other pods weren't kind of deactivating or thawing other people out when, for some unknown reason, I was just de-thawed enough so that I could see my wife die and my kid get stolen. And then I get frozen again for a little bit. I just thought that was weird.
I can explain that.
Can you?
Yeah, but I don't know.
That's fine. Basically, they stole the baby, and your wife is dead. And then
so
you and her are frozen again, and then you...
I thought it happened different, though.
Is that not how it happened? I just played this last night.
They ripped it out of her hands, and then right before they were gonna freeze her, then he walked up. I thought it was a woman trying to rip it out.
Yeah, she was trying to rip it out.
And then the guy, after they take the baby, walks up and kills her after they take the baby.
I thought they killed her while trying to do it. I thought.
Yeah, they were definitely 100,000%. I was playing it today. She was trying to take the baby, and whenever she wouldn't let go, they were like bang bang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is more, it's less like we were going to kill you the whole time, and more like, okay, well, goodbye life, because you wouldn't give up the baby. I think she might have survived if she had given up, but
I don't know. Maybe.
Was she going to just let that happen?
Yeah, right.
What do you do in that situation? No, I don't. Maybe there is a reason, hopefully, in the story, because, why would you have thawed just so you can see that? Well, for dramatic effect, so you can watch this happen, and you don't just wake up and your wife's dead. You actually know what happens. That's the character, obviously, but apparently Josh has an explanation. But I don't really know when you want to get into this, but basically, you wake up after that. The whole thaw and unthaw happens again. You wake up, and you try to open you do, I think. And this was also kind of the same thing that you're saying, Andrew, because it lets you unlock your wife's cryo chamber, and then you end up taking her wedding ring, and then your character vows to kill the people who did this.
That
and-
makes sense. I was wondering why in my inventory I have 2 wedding rings.
You take your wife's
Mhm.
wedding ring. And it's worth a lot, and I'm going to try not to sell it. But sorry. So
I'm probably going to sell my wife's wedding ring. I have a stat that makes me get more money from stuff. So
yeah, it's like 250 caps. or
loved you,
something.
but
anyway,
you're dead.
anyway, but I walked around to every single other cryo chamber in the building.
Me too.
In the vault, and it does not let you unlock any of them. That was kind of
Me
silly as
too.
well. It's just for the game. It's just for the story. But
Sure.
Josh, I don't know when you want to explain this, but basically you wake up and
Whenever you
everybody, there's
want.
nobody else alive in the vault. You are the only one left. Everyone else is dead or
Yep.
gone. Josh, what were you going to say? Like, you wanted to expand upon this a bit.
So the thing with the Fallout series, I don't know the total amount. So, and they go over it in the TV show.
Yeah.
The vaults. So there's this group. The best way to describe them, they're not this, but they're the Illuminati, a group controlling stuff behind the doors.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's tensions between America and Russia, but they're not going to nuke each other. So what happens is Vault Tech comes in and goes, we can sell vaults, but what happens if the tension goes away? Then we have vaults sold or that didn't sell, and we don't make any money.
So is it the theory that that Vault Tech themselves did a bunch of things in the government and whatnot to exacerbate the issue?
Well, and it'll go over in the TV show. They buy all of these different companies, like radiation companies, food companies, all these governmental places.
So that's not a theory. This actually like happens in this universe.
This is
oh my gosh.
That's what this happens in the universe. So they buy all these companies because the main woman in the TV show.
Yeah. Don't give show spoilers, by the way.
Okay.
If you can
all
help
right.
it,
So I won't do that. So my
You
thing
were
is,
about to?
I don't know how many. I don't know if it's a spoiler.
No, for real. I don't want to know what's happening in the show.
I don't know how many vaults there are in the universe. Okay.
You mean
Well, there's at
Earth?
least 111.
No. They're different.
No?
They're numbered different. It's not like 1, 2, 3 all the way to 111. They're named like this. So the group of people who purposely nuked the world created these vaults. The purpose of the vaults is they're experimenting on people.
Yeah, and this experiment. Well, that's the thing. I'm gonna quickly.
I think that's what our vault experiment 111 is.
It's explained.
Was
in the terminals.
everybody's thing didn't work except for a couple people.
So I'm going to just quickly jump in here and say that while you're exploring this vault and you see that everyone's dead, there are a few terminals that you can open up and read logs of. One of them is like from the guy who was heading that vault. He was in charge. One of them was from just another worker there, like a personnel guy, and he talks about how that guy has the only working exit to the world anymore because the main one is malfunctioning and whatnot. But you can go through and read all the logs, which I'm planning on doing in this game because I think it's interesting and you get a lot of useful information. But I think that, I mean, there's lore, but there's also some once in a while like things that are actually like useful that you could pass up and play the game and go find. But sometimes it'll be like, oh, you can find this thing hidden under this thing. Don't tell Bob. But basically, you learn that this entire vault was just a project to learn and grow in the field of like cryogenic technology. Basically, this vault was just it was like a secret. I can't think of the word, but basically they were just experimenting. It was an experiment on these people, and they were lied to and said that it was to make them safe from the nuclear fallout and whatnot. And instead, they just were test puppies on test. What is the term?
Test dummies?
Dummies! All right. I'm a test dummy. And they were test dummies on cryogenic technology. And it's not clear, at least as of your time in the vault and leaving and reading the actual terminals, whether or not everyone died because the cryogenic technology failed. Actually, I think they mentioned something about that. So I'm wondering if maybe that's the case.
Yeah,
you're
they
the only
did.
one who survived it.
Bit.
Okay, so that must be the case then. So basically, yeah, it doesn't work. It works, but it doesn't, because lots of people didn't make it. But you did. Also, you're 200 years in the future. It's like 2280 something.
Which is another thing. which is another thing that I wanted to kind of touch on, is I'm wondering if I'm sure he is for story purposes, but I'm almost wondering if your son is still alive
I would
because
think.
we don't know when we were thawed out temporarily for them to take him.
Yeah.
But he was still a
It
baby
could have
when he
been
was
like
taken.
10 years ago and he's like
So
20.
so yeah,
Wait,
and that's the thing. Like that's what's so weird because like they
Don't they go
thawed
over it in
they
the
thawed her
logs?
out.
Because you can see when each one broke.
oh, does it say that?
Yeah,
I
it talks
think.
about
I
when they
forgot about that.
broke,
Okay.
but the thing I'm getting to is they took out your son while he was still a baby, and then you don't know how long you went back to cryogenic sleep for.
Yeah.
So it's very possible
That
that
could have
like
been
you
very
could be
recent.
looking for your son and you find out that he's been gone for 80 years,
Yeah.
or he could still be 25.
He
Like
could
I
be
have no
alive.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, and I feel like why would they allow from a story perspective, why would they take this child away and you want to go on? I just feel like he is somehow. I feel like there's no way
Well,
they're not going to use him somehow.
I
in the story.
agree. I agree. I also think that because whenever they took your child away, they mentioned something about the child was the primary subject, and they were counting on your character as the backup. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they got something in store for the both of us. I don't know what it is though.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it's wild. Wild beginning to this story, and it's basically starting off as a revenge tale. You're alive 200 years in the future. The cryogenic chamber works for you. It didn't break down and kill you, so that's cool. Everyone else is dead though, and you escape the vault. You end up fighting these mutated cockroaches that are called rad roaches, and they're enormous. Like they're like
Rad.
really big. They're super rad too. Did you have more to say, by the way? I did cut you off to talk about the to like jump in, but you were talking about the vaults and how they were experiments, and did you have more to add there?
Well, that's basically it. Every vault is a different experiment that somebody was under. I know there's a vault where like they purposely starved them out to see what would happen, and
Yeah.
Well,
stuff
I'm
like that.
wondering how much of that is that they added afterwards just for the show. Because I
No,
don't
it's
know if
not,
they talk
because
about it in
in
the
the
game.
game they do. You can go to
Okay.
every vault and because so
Oh,
in
you
a
can go to
vault
different
you
vaults
have
in the game?
You can go to every
yeah
vault? How?
Well, they're probably
it's
just in the world, and you have a way to
yeah
find them and enter them,
Oh,
I guess.
you
okay.
walk around and because there's people on TikTok, they're like, if you go to this vault, you can see what their experiment was. Vault
Really?
33, yeah. Just
Okay.
go on TikTok and like
No.
look up the different vaults.
Go on
I don't
TikTok
want to
and
get
look up
more
spoilers, guys. Yeah.
no. I
But
mean, it's. I feel like the fact that this was an experiment is not like the biggest spoiler in the world to learn
Yeah.
that
it's
others
not,
were.
but the governmental person is called the overseer. So what you do, like we did when we were leaving, you had the overseer's computer.
Yeah.
You just go there and you can read like what they were doing, what their purpose was, what they were working on, stuff like how like they'll write notes down, how did it fail, different stuff that happens throughout. So you can go to those computers and be like, all right, what were they experimenting? How did the experiment go? Total anarchy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild, but so moving on from there, basically you end up you go to the entrance to the vault, and you find, you've been finding dead bodies all over, and they're all skeletons at this point. They're completely decomposed, but there was a Pip-Boy, which is something you wear on your arm that acts as, whenever you open up, like hit escape in a game or a tab or something, and you open up your inventory quests
Like a wrist computer.
/ missions. Yeah, basically it's like a computer you wear on your wrist, and it acts as, which I think is really cool. I think it was done really well. And it acts as like your all basically that the menu. So you can see your inventory, everything you have in that. You can see your skills, your attributes. You can see your missions, map, anything like that you can think of in the game. It seems to have. It's pretty cool. And you just open it by hitting tab, and you can just close it at any point. And blah blah blah. It's just like a normal menu that you can pull up. But you find one on a dead body, on a skeleton. It's still working. That's some pretty cool technology. That it's impressive that it's working after so long. Good stuff. And you make your way to the surface. You basically open the vault door using the Pip-Boy, like it has authorization key or something to unlock it, and you get on that platform. You raise up into the world, and You don't know at this point that it's been 200 years. It could have been, I mean, it looks bad in there, and the fact that there are a bunch of decomposed dudes and everything looks different, you have an assumption that something went terribly wrong. And if you have any understanding of like even just the the sci-fi take on cryogenic technology, which I don't know if your character does or not, you might have an idea that it might be much farther in the future than you could assume from how it felt to you, because you basically were frozen and then you didn't experience the passage of time. So you end up getting on this platform. It raises you up, and you are in the town that you were in 200 years ago. On top of that hill where you saw the bombs go off, and everything is irradiated, and it looks kind of much more like a wasteland than before. It's not as green and beautiful, because that's what happens. But that's kind of when the game opens up and it becomes this open world game for you. You know, you have like 8 different like beginning quests that show up that you can follow, and there's a main one, which is kind of what our intention is to follow in this game. We're going to run through the main quest, focus on that. We'll do side things as we go, but this is the kind of game that if we want to all play it at a similar speed, roughly, and talk about our experiences every week, it's going to be already difficult. So that's kind of our intention, is to focus on the main quest and not do a bunch of side quests, at least at first. Which we could always talk about. If there's something that sounds really interesting, we could always be like, hey, do we all want to do this side quest? We could always do that, but we'll play it by ear. I have a feeling this game will last a while for the podcast, but I'm enjoying. Wow, I'm enjoying my time playing the game so far. And basically, you end up going to your home. You walk down that hill. I explore everything, like that area with the fenced-in area with the vault and everything up on the surface. Like if you just go around, there's a bunch of random containers and the useful stuff. I've been picking up absolutely everything I see. And you can pick up a lot. There's like a lot of random stuff. You can pick up a coffee maker, coffee cup, hot plate, like ceramic plate.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's lots of things you can pick up, and there's a purpose for that later in the game. Skyrim never had a real purpose for stuff like that. You never wanted to pick up random crap because it just took weight in your inventory. But this game lets you use that stuff later as scrap. So you end up entering your neighborhood. And what I did was I immediately went to, because your intention is to go home and to see your home. And so I went to every building in your town. Half of them are completely destroyed and you can't even enter them. Most of them are completely destroyed, but you can enter them, and there's lots of stuff left behind, which I don't know how 200 years later there would be loot left in these houses. But once again,
there was a nice can of beans, though.
Yeah,
Found
I got that
some
too.
beans.
And that's, once again, if this was realistic, there would be no loot, nothing useful for you, and it would not be a fun game. So there are certain things you have to take with, just you have to be okay with. So I went through a bunch of houses and I got the loot, and then I went home, and Cogsworth is still there. Do you remember?
My homie.
It's been 200 years, but the character doesn't know this yet. Cogsworth is chilling there. I walk up to him. I talk to him. That's actually the quest objective now, because you see that he's home, and he is absolutely ecstatic to see you. You have this conversation with him, and he's like, oh, well, you're probably just paranoid, you know, where's your wife? You know, how's she doing? And then you tell her she's dead. She's like, oh, okay, well, you know, I think you need to lay down. Like, he just doesn't believe it, or he's in denial or something. I don't know. But you tell him that they took your son, and then he kind of like starts to be like, oh, this is real, huh? And you actually, it teaches you about persuasion in conversation, in this conversation as well. It gives you an option to be like,
the words.
Yeah, it colors the words, and it tells you like yellow, orange, or red, depending on how hard it would be to convince. And I assume that like if it was red with a 1 charisma, it might be a yellow with a 10 charisma. I don't know how that works, but
It was a yellow with a 10 charisma.
well, mine was a
Can't
yellow
confirm.
with a 1 charisma, so I think that first one
mine
is,
was
you
a
probably
yellow.
always pass it, but I don't really.
Yeah.
It's like a tutorial sort of, but basically you ask him like if he's okay, and then he kind of breaks down a bit, almost like, I mean, he seems very like human. It's very sentient technology, because he's like, you know, he's been here for 200 years by himself.
Yeah,
Like,
and he was
that's
like,
horrific.
I tried for 10 years to wax the nuclear fallout from the floors, and it doesn't come out. I was like, whoa, bro went through it, even though he's a robot.
He really did. Poor guy. And like your house very obviously is completely destroyed. There's stuff littering everywhere. I think he also went through a little bit of a psychotic break and didn't continue taking care of the house, because I would fire him if that was my robot and he thought he was. Anyway, so you have this conversation with him, and then after all that, he ends up telling you that,
Can I
he's been
say
there
something
for
real
200
quick?
years. You can jump in at any time.
I don't know if you guys had it on your game, but the way my player was standing, talking to Cogsworth the whole time, there was a giant, like 50-pound looking housefly just flying around in the house window in the back of it.
That's
So
hilarious.
the whole time is like, I
Do you
just
mean the
want to finish this
bloatflies?
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that
whole
didn't
time
happen
he's
to me.
talking, I was like, I just want him to stop talking because I can see what that is.
Yeah, there's rad roaches, bloatflies, and something else I fought. I fought like these mole rats, and I
Yeah.
fought. We'll get
Yeah.
into it, but okay. You have this conversation. He ends up telling you and the player that it's been 200 years, and so there's that. That's a problem, but basically you end up. Well, he kind of gets you your next objective, which is to go to Concord. I forget exactly why. Do you remember, Andrew?
I don't. I
Okay.
wish I did.
But basically you're going to there and you're following like a main quest.
Oh, that's what I'm sorry. Yeah,
you're
he
fine.
it was his idea to go to Concord because he said that there's like actual people there and it's probably a good lead on where
Right.
to find your son.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Cool. So that is a thing. I do want to talk about, I mean, you kind of you leave from there. God bless you. And you go to Concord. But I do want to talk about something that's really important in this game is that you can, like every type of weapon, and I assume like armor, but I don't know enough about that yet. You can upgrade them. There's like a bunch of different upgrade pieces that you can create from scrap. So important thing in this game, I don't know if you guys know this or not, you can leave all of your scrap items at your workbench in this town and it'll stay there and you can use it in the future to like upgrade stuff.
No, I didn't know that.
It's
You
worth
can
doing
also
because fast
it's
travel
not-
is in this game. You can always fast travel back there and use it.
It's also not just the workbench areas. If you find like a safe or something, you can just shove stuff in it.
Oh,
It'll stay there.
will stuff be persistent in any container?
It seems to be because the first one I tried to do it on a safe that I found. I don't think it was a vault, but some underground place, and yeah, I mean it was just a safe that I hacked open or lockpicked open, and it was like I took the stuff out of it, and it told me you could put stuff in there. So I got rid of all the junk that I didn't need because I have like 0 carrying capacity.
Yeah, no, I get that. So that is the thing. You have to balance that, but the fact that you can fast travel in this game makes it just stupid easy because you fast travel in this town to that workbench right in front of it. So best thing to do, I would suggest while you play this game, is pick up about everything you find because about everything you find can either be sold or stored in your workbench and turned into scrap to make like upgrades and stuff. It's pretty much always worth it to hold on to stuff. Now, obviously, if you're in the middle of something that you can't leave and your inventory is getting full drop crap, that's heavy. But yeah, there's lots of items that are just considered scrap. There's even an option that says store all scrap when you enter the workbench, so you can do that too. And that's something that I actually have been just like decking out my 22 millimeter pistol with a bunch of different mods and stuff that it gives you. And I've just been using that so far. But yeah, so that's pretty cool.
You got a 22. I got a 10 millimeter, and
maybe it's a 10.
On it.
Maybe
Bro,
it's a 10.
I found out that the luck stat really helps with that stuff because I have like 2,000 of every ammo. Apparently, the luck that you have shows you like you can find the rare items easier, and apparently ammo is that because I have ammo for days.
Wait, does luck actually affect what you find?
I guess so.
It doesn't say that. It just says
I know the game difficulty affects what you find also.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, it's let's see. It affects luck effects. Let me take a look.
Luck.
So luck provides burst damage to every weapon and build. It helps create the highest damage producing setups. It also affects critical hit chance and finding valuable items such as ammo. And apparently the outcome of random events.
Okay, well, I need to put some points on luck then. That's awesome. Okay, well, you're going to be the luckiest boy in town. It's hilarious to me that luck is an attribute in these.
It'd have been great if I just like rose up from the vault looking for my son, and since I have 10 luck, he's just like right next to me. Be like, "Oh, hey, Dad, what's up?" Game over.
Game over. So yeah, we're just following like the main objective, and so we go to Concord. And what I did first, you guys can jump in at any time. I'm just kind of keeping the story moving here, but we end up going to Concord. And the way I've been playing these games, I first went to every single possible house in the town, and I looted everything I could. I actually made a trip back to the workbench to drop off scrap to go back and continue. There's at one point where in the middle of the street, there's multiple raiders and they're like shooting. One of them is shooting at a building, but one of them is just like he like heard you or something, and he's like, "Come out, so we can do this" or something. He's just yelling for you. I know you're there, and so yeah, you're basically just you end up getting in a fight with him. I just popped him in the head, and he fell to the ground, as bullets do. So that went well, but then you end up going down the street, and this is the continuation of the story. There's a raider shooting at this building, and then from the building, there's like this red laser beam getting shot at the raider. And we end up fighting the raider. I don't know if like you're supposed to kill him or if they'll eventually kill him, but there's some dude in the like second story or third story of this building shooting back, and then he ends up yelling at you to like help them or something. I guess he can just tell you're not a raider. I don't know. But by the way, all this time we're over here talking about, but you end up going past like a gas station and whatnot. You can loot it, but you end up finding. When does dog meat come in?
You find him just while you're traveling to the
Red Rocket truck stop.
The Red Rocket truck stop. Yeah, okay,
because he's there.
So between your town, which is Sanctuary Hills, and
that's Concord, where the moles come out.
Yeah. So there is a Red Rocket truck stop, or not truck stop, but like a gas station, and
I think it's called the Red Rocket truck stop.
Oh, is it called the truck stop? Okay, that's why
I'm pretty sure
truck stop came to my head. Then that's funny. So you end up finding this dog, and I assume there's not an option to like shoo him away, like he's just your companion in this.
I didn't get the option. He just ran up, the moles jumped out of the ground, and like
the moles happened after like I already that didn't happen.
No, I walked up to the gas station, and then the dog came out, and then the dog started fighting the moles, and then it like basically shows you that the moles are enemies. I'm like, all right, I'll start fighting the moles, and then after that the dog just starts following you around. I'm like, okay.
That must be something that the Luckstat, when they were talking about like gets different world events, because that is not what happened to me. It was just like I was walking and they were like, "Hey, it sounds like there's a dog in the distance," and I just walk up to them and it's like I should be nice to it, and then you get the option, like the dialogue option, to like talk to the dog.
Yeah,
and I pet him even though he was barking. Yeah, I just pet him and he was like, "All right, I'm your buddy. Let's go do stuff."
But this happened like right before the truck stop. But then I guess for some reason, Josh, like that coincided with the encounter of these. What are they, mole rats or something?
Yeah, something weird. They just climbed out of the dirt.
They kind of look like naked mole rats, so I guess it makes sense. But they are really big, so I guess they're radiated too. I don't know how this works, but basically, there's like 6 or 7 of them that pop out, and then you and good old dog meat end up just fighting them off. Excuse me. So after that,
I need a Fallout 4 mod that lets me rename the dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to rename the dog.
I'd love that. So Concord, basically, we go back forward to what's happening there. Looks like these dudes called the Minutemen are in this building, and I actually ended up my playthrough because this is hard to like coordinate when we don't really know the story and where to end things. We're trying to coordinate roughly like where to stop for the week, and then we can kind of be in a similar spot. But Josh got farther ahead. Andrew, how far did you get?
I did get to the town. I basically did the one thing immediately after where you stopped.
Yeah.
So like you stopped after you got through that building, and I just finished basically that quest, and that's all the further I got.
Oh, so you've spoken with the Minutemen. You went in that building. Okay,
yeah.
I didn't realize right in front of it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
See, by the time I got that done, my play time was at like an hour and a half. So then I was like, well, if we're supposed to be playing like 2 hours, I got to play a little bit more.
Yeah.
So then I kept going. So by the time I finished today, my play time on my save is like 2.5 hours.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I spent a little bit of time on the character creation and whatnot, and then maybe I just spent more time looting and like searching for stuff. But I'm trying not to go like over and above. Like I'm not like moving to a neighboring town and doing side quests. Like, which is honestly, I very often end up getting distracted in these style of games where I
I mean,
just end up
listen,
not doing the main story.
we're playing this game to see if it's something we like. We're
Oh, I
playing
love
this
it so
game to be
far.
able to rate it at the end. If there's side quests you want to do, go for it.
Yeah, it's just difficult because if the main thing we're doing in
Listen,
this game is
you're
talking about
further.
the
You both
story,
are further behind than me,
yeah.
and I don't understand why. And I think part of the reason is I think you went back and forth collecting so much scrap metal
Yeah, we play
that your
differently.
play time. So
I didn't spend a ton of time doing that, but did you loot every single house you found?
if I walked by and I realized there was a door open or
Oh.
something that I could get in, I did.
Okay. Do you want to do we want to stop it here, or do we want to continue it and just
It's up to you guys.
I mean, Andrew, you can just kind of do a rundown of what happens with the Minutemen if you want, I guess. It's not the end of the
Well,
world
I
for
mean,
me.
all that really happens at that point is you do exactly what they asked you to. They basically say, "Help us out." They tell you there's like a laser rifle out in front of the building, so you pick it up and go in.
Yeah.
And I think you kill like 2 or 3 guys. There's not very many in
Wait,
there.
there's a laser rifle in front of the
On
building?
the ground, yeah.
Yeah, the guy when he says, "Hey, please help me," there's a laser rifle in front of the building. Pick it up before you go in. Yeah, there's a laser rifle in front of the building right before you
Josh,
go in.
that indicates that there was a laser rifle on the ground in
I
front of
never heard him say that. I gotta teleport back to the Concord.
Yeah.
And see it's right in front of the Commonwealth building.
It's right in front of the
yeah.
yeah,
That's
Commonwealth
what it's
building.
called, yeah.
Right. I gotta go back and look then.
Yeah, it's not that great, but it does well
seems
enough in the
interesting.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can charge it up to do like a dual shot, and it pretty much puts down anybody it shoots in
That's cool.
close range.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you just go through, you talk to the Minutemen, he kind of explains who they are and just says, "Hey, we're basically the survivors of this town, and we don't like the raiders because they try to just kill people and eat people and do a bunch of weird stuff."
Yummy. Yeah.
So yeah, you basically talk to them. There's some crazy old kook of a lady who does drugs and says like she apparently has visions, but they're like somewhat true now
Okay.
because like it kind of leads you to the next portion of the next quest based on her drug infused vision, which is kind of funny. But everyone else is like, it tracks. She's done it before. I don't know how she does it, but she just gets strung out and like sees the future. So yeah, so that's your plot point there. But she after that, the only real difference after that is to finish like the raiders off. It gives you a tutorial on how to use the power suit. So those like big suits that the dudes were in the beginning of the Fallout game.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking
That's
about?
cool. Yeah.
So you find one, and
armor, yeah.
I was an idiot because it does tell you to find like the power core for it so that you can do more stuff, but I didn't find the power core. I found the suit first and I was like, let's get it, boys. But the problem with that is you move extremely slowly, so I'm like tiptoeing in this big armor that I can't really wield because I'm not strong enough.
Yeah.
But apparently if you get a power core, you can like move around pretty freely.
I see.
So I was just a walking tank. But yeah, you just go and finish them off, and when you do the what's that the big enemy thing called, Josh? Do you remember?
The Death Claw.
Yeah, the Death Claw. This like real big radiated enemy thing, like, monster comes out and attacks you. It's a little hard for me to beat because I couldn't move.
part of the
I just had to
story?
shoot and hope it didn't kill me. Yeah,
I've heard of Death Claws, and I thought they were like endgame enemies or something.
it's probably
I
just
thought that
showing
too,
you how
but he's
dangerous the
immediately
world
in the
can be.
beginning.
Yeah,
Maybe
because as
it's
soon
like an
as you
easier
see
one.
it, yeah,
He
it
comes out
does
of the
show you
sewer.
like when you see his name and stuff that's like red and has a skull. It's like you shouldn't be able to beat this enemy.
Oh, okay.
But you know,
Did you
you
guys
have
go
power
into the
armor, so you're
sewer?
allowed.
No.
No.
That's the thing. I went and I explored the entire sewer too. There's a bunch of stuff down there, so that's probably added to my playtime. But that's like
Nice.
there's a couple entrances. I think 2.
Yeah, I don't even know where the sewer entrance
in
is.
Concord. It's like between 2 houses. There's like a kind of like an underground, like 2 metal doors on the side of the house that you can open. That's like in the ground. So, yeah, that's how you get to it. But I did that as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's story-wise. That's about as far as I got. Sounds like Josh got a
did you
little
kill
bit
the Death
further, but
Claw?
that's about it. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
It took me a couple times. It killed me because, like I said, I couldn't really move very well. My guy just could kind of point a gun and shoot, which leads to the exploit that I found. So apparently, when you find a minigun, if you have high enough strength, you can get it off the tripod. However, or else it won't let you use it. However, if you get in power armor, rip the minigun off, and get out of the power armor, you could just wield the minigun. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
walking
not an
around with a
exploit. That's
minigun.
me too. After
Okay.
I took the fusion core and I used the suit the proper way, I got out and then it was like your character's heavy and I'm like, why am I heavy? And so I'm like looking through what weapons I have and it says minigun. And I'm like, well, is it still with the suit? And I click on it and he pulls it out. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Same. I was like, let's
oh.
go. See, my problem was I did a little bit of exploring after that, and now I have a huge inventory issue because A, I have a 1 strength. I didn't put anything into it, so I can't carry a lot. But B, I found another minigun, and I have it in my inventory, which takes up like 90% of my
How
inventory.
did you find a
So,
second one?
Listen, stash
luck,
it at
bro.
Sanctuary
Stat,
Hills.
man.
Stash
Yeah.
it in your workshop. It's worth it.
That's what I need to do. I didn't know you could fast travel yet.
Yeah,
so
I gotta
I'm gonna
go
have to do
back
that.
and find the suit that I left and
Yeah,
teleport
yeah.
that to the.
fast travel is like one of the easiest things that they. It's
And
like
I gotta
the
find that
simplest and
rifle.
most useful things they've put in these games.
I
Like,
knew it
it's
was
so
in there, but I
convenient.
didn't think about that stuff. I
Yeah.
didn't think about climbing in the suit and then teleporting it back to a workshop or anything.
Yeah.
So I saw on TikTok one of the videos, they said, make a lot of quick saves because there's going to be a lot of times where you're going to have to go back to an old save to redo something.
Okay.
Because it'll affect, like you do something a certain way, it'll affect the next outcome.
I'm not
Okay,
doing
but,
that. I feel like
shouldn't
you
you
need to.
just
That's
go with the
part
decisions you
of the
make?
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
No,
that's
You
part
can
of the.
do that, but like
that's what I got stuck with.
That's called save-scumming. You
I
bum.
it's
did
exactly it.
the minigun the correct way, where I went and took the fusion core from the basement, climbed up on the roof, got the suit, ripped the gun off, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna kill all the bad guys because that's what the thing was. Is you're gonna kill them and scare them away with the minigun. So I used up 95% of my ammo of the minigun, killing the bad guys.
And then you had the death claw. Nice.
And then it's like clear Concord. You got to kill the death claw, and I'm like, how do I do that? So then I didn't have ammo in the minigun to be able to kill him enough, and then the guy below you isn't doing enough damage to sit there and wait either. So then I was like, all right, well then I'll got to go back to a new save. So like 2:30 in the morning this morning, I went back to try to beat him again. Well, I kept jumping off the roof. Well, you get down the roof, he just fights you, fist fights you,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know how to beat this guy because like even if I get close to him, the minigun doesn't do enough damage at once to kill him. So then I was like, I'm gonna stay on the roof. Well, the problem is he likes to hide in the alleyways of buildings.
The death
So
claw?
what I would do,
Interesting.
what I would do was it seemed like every time he'd come out and you'd shoot him a little bit, he would hide. So if you go back into the building, it's like a loading screen. I would turn around and go to the door. As soon as it reloads inside, I would turn around and come back out, and the Deathclaw would be roaming the street again. And you shoot it a little bit, he'll come chasing you. You fully unload on him, and then he'll run away, and then you repeat the process.
So Josh is admitting that he's a save-scumming, cheesing man when he plays this game.
Well,
meanwhile, I don't even play it properly, and I found a way to easily kill the Deathclaw, and I can't even walk more than half a foot every 5 minutes.
I don't know if my game's glitchy or stuff, because sometimes, like, the audio, the character's mouth is moving, and then, like, it'll catch up and he'll start speaking.
It's probably just glitchy. It's just
but my Deathclaw got stuck on the corners of buildings quite a lot.
That's pretty funny.
Mine didn't.
And the last of it, he was trying to go down the street, and in the middle of the street is an alley, and he was like stuck on the corner of the alley. So I just sat there and burst fired the minigun until I killed it.
Nice.
And that's how I ended up getting them.
That's cool.
Nice.
Well, that's what I'll do next. And next week we will continue roughly 2-ish hours of gameplay. And
this isn't a spoiler.
Oh boy,
but
it is.
The very next thing that they want you to do is follow those group of survivors to another town. And you literally just follow them back to the town where you were living and just came from.
Hills?
Yeah, wherever, where you started off. And I was looting some buildings along the way, and they kept walking. Well, dude, they walk so slow. And so I was like, I'll just go ahead and start looting. And then I was at the truck stop trying to see if I could figure out if I could make ammo because I was almost empty. And then I turned and I was like, okay, good. They don't wait for you. They keep going and you can catch up. when I ran back, that bridge you crossed on the way to Concord,
Mhm.
instead of going over the bridge, the entire group waded through the water to the other side.
I noticed that. Yeah, I
And I
noticed
just
that.
stood on the top looking down like, did I do this because I didn't follow them? Or is this just on
Oh,
purpose?
they all
I
have
don't know, 'cause
intelligence of one.
that's the exact thing that happened to me. Because as soon as they crossed and I got there, that's when I stopped. But like, yeah, I was walking over the bridge and I was like, "What are these?" Because I saw like the objective underneath me. I was like, "Am I here?"
Exactly.
And it's just
That's
dude walking through the
hilarious.
water. I'm like, "Okay."
I was like, where are they? I can't see them. You got the compass at the bottom, and like I looked, and I'm like looking, and I look down, and I'm like, where did they go somewhere? And I look, and they're just wading through the water. I'm like, what the heck?
That's a good time.
Indeed.
All
Well, it
right.
sounds
Well,
like
anybody
yeah.
have any like final thoughts about the game so far? What they're thinking? How
I
they're
like it.
feeling?
It's all right. Not bad.
All right. Okay. So he likes it. Not bad. I love it. I love games like this. There's just a lot, like so much that we can look forward to. A lot of perks I want to work toward. Get as much experience as I can. Loot everything as humanly possible and make some sweet weapons and just follow this this quest line and see what happens. But yeah, no, it's I'm enjoying it so far. Good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That means it's time.
Time for what? Is that our fantasy draft?
Fantasy
This
draft.
week, fantasy draft.
What's our
You're
fantasy
running
draft,
from the
Joshua?
police
Oh,
in downtown Los Angeles
Yes.
during rush hour.
yes, the movie.
You have to choose a vehicle to get away. What is your vehicle?
What's the order?
It is Andrew, Nathan, me, Nathan, Andrew.
All right, my vehicle is going to be a potato because I don't understand the rules to this like you didn't last week.
I think you're
Okay,
being a
fair.
little bit facetious here, my
So
friend.
you're choosing
Just a bit.
Idaho.
I think you know what vehicles are.
Idaho. Idaho. No, let's
You are
see.
the
So I have to. So slightly more information. I'm like being chased actively by the police or
police
something.
are chasing you,
Okay.
but I chose downtown, so you can't get in. Like, I'm going to take a sports car and
Sure.
speed down the highway because it's rush hour.
Gotcha.
It just doesn't
Gotcha.
seem like
Well,
this is going to work in your favor. But hey, I mean,
in that case, I'm going to choose a if I could find, well, it's Los Angeles. I could definitely find it. I would try to find something like a Can-Am Spider, if you've ever seen those. They're kind of like reverse trikes. Yeah, I was trying to think of. I don't know if there's a name for the vehicle, but it's kind of like a trike, but it has like an enclosure, almost kind of like a. I don't know, but yeah, I'd probably take like a Can-Am Spider. It's smaller and mobile, but it's also easy to drive because I mean, I could drive a motorcycle or ride a motorcycle, but it's a lot easier to like maneuver with because I don't have to worry about sliding off the motorcycle. That's what I'd
Nathan?
think.
I know literally nothing about cars, so I'm going to say I'm going to try to find a car in the shape of like a big rubber duck.
Okay.
Nathan's gonna be over here in the Dumb and Dumber like vehicle, the big dog thing.
Yeah, exactly that car.
All right. Well, my choice is going to be a motorcycle.
What
They're
kind?
slimmer. You can just a normal, probably like a Kawasaki Ninja, a 600.
You just made that
The
up.
only reason I didn't choose a motorcycle is because I'm like, they're shooting at me, I'm assuming. And I want some sort of protection against
You're in
that.
downtown Los Angeles during rush hour. You think they're going to shoot at you?
If we're talking GTA cops, absolutely. They're sending it.
Okay. All right. So I'll take the motorcycle because you can weave in and out of traffic. You can split the lane where a cop car can't get down. So my first is gonna be a motorcycle, and my second is going to be a helicopter from one of the LA sightseeing tours.
Good luck getting it.
Didn't you say you're in downtown LA
Mhm.
and you're
Where are
just
you
gonna
finding
find a
this
helicopter?
I just told you they have the sightseeing tours down there, just like Pittsburgh does.
Oh, I see what you mean. I mean, good luck, I guess.
Thank you.
You're already running from the police, so you might as well threaten them and take the helicopter. Might as well.
Yeah.
Well, how
Do
you
you know how
gonna
to
get
fly a
up there?
You're going to be
helicopter?
very visible. Yeah, I don't. Good luck. I mean,
I've been watching Castle, and on the episode of Castle, there's a helicopter that you don't even need a license to fly. So I'm hoping there's
yeah,
like one of those there.
he knows how to fly a helicopter. He's been
Oh
watching
man,
Castle.
there's that reminds me. There's one of my friends. We were talking about. I can't remember what it was, but she is one of my friends with the tism, as I would like to say, and and we were talking about it was she was talking about laying floor. I was like, I have a little bit of experience in it. Like I could help you or maybe start a project or do something simple, but that's about it. And
You
she
do
was
it
like, oh, I
completely
can
wrong.
do it. It's easy. And I was like, I mean, it's simple. I wouldn't say it's easy. Like it's still some sort of a skill you have to learn.
Yeah.
She said, "Oh, I skimmed about 5 minutes of a 45-minute YouTube video on how to do it, so I know I can lay floor now." I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure. You do you,
I
Bo."
love that.
Bud.
That's beautiful. That's
It's
like me
great.
on YouTube. I just look up a video and I'm like, okay, well now I'm an expert.
Now I'm a pro. That's right.
All right, so Josh is taking a helicopter. All right, so my plan here, it really depends on how close they are behind me, because whatever. I'm just gonna run through the streets past all the cars, and I'm gonna go into the nearest subway station. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to assault like the closest male that looks roughly close to my size, and I'm going to remove all his clothing, at least his outer clothing. And I'm going to remove my clothing and then put his clothing on and jump on the nearest subway and go as far as I can on the subway.
The title for this episode is Nathan Accosts Himself.
Myself? I was talking about a stranger. I'm not hurting myself.
But the way I saw your description of what you were planning on doing is you're going to find somebody who's your same physical appearance and physique. And you're going to fight
like
him
me.
to
not
take
just
his
physique.
clothes.
He has to look exactly like me.
And then, so basically, you're fighting yourself to steal a new creation of yourself to get away,
fair.
so you don't look like yourself.
This is what I meant.
Idaho
I'm
and the
taking the subway.
self-accosting Nathan.
Andrew, what's your next?
I am going to. I was going to take a subway, so it's upsetting that
Oh
you took
no!
that. But if we're in LA, I feel like it's either like really hit or miss. It's either I'm getting away with it or I'm instantly dying. But I will try to turn a corner, look down the road, and find one of those like tourist buses where people are like sightseeing.
Oh, the trolley train thing.
Yeah,
like
and I'm just gonna hop on that bad boy and just like be like, "All right, guys, sorry I'm late," and just try to blend in as best I can and hope the
I
police
like
don't
that.
find me.
I like
I'm
that
just
a
sending
lot.
it. It's either I'm getting away and I'm like I'm either like going down in history as the most infamous criminal. No one has any idea how he got away, or I'm just going to be the biggest idiot and I'm going to be on that TV of like World's Dumbest Criminals, that show. One of them.
I think you'll be a little bit of both.
Yeah, true.
All right, good stuff.
Yeah, that'll be a great episode of Cops if you get away with it.
Yeah. Indeed. So shout outs. Let's see. I'm going to shout out to.
Did anyone that you shouted out last time say anything?
Well, the episode just went out. So
yeah, I have to. We have to send it to
3
Joseph
hours
today.
ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he needs. That
and then
sent
see
to
if
him.
he does that.
And
this
if he
week, let's
doesn't,
see.
oh man, I'm probably gonna accost him.
Let's go with let's go with shout out to Joel, because I've been finally seeing him a lot lately, even though, I haven't seen him in a while, even though we go to the same church and we supposedly see each other all the time. I haven't for a while. So yeah, shout out to Joel. Go ahead and
shout
watch
out to
this
Joel
episode.
too. He doesn't want to be on the podcast because he thinks we play boring games. So thank you, Joel. Shout out to you.
Yeah. All right. I'm changing my shout out. Shout out to Chrissy, because she's thought that this was a Christian podcast, and I found that funny because we are all Christians, but like she definitely, knowing me, was like, "Oh, this must be a Christian podcast," and I was like, "The name is My Mom Has Tourette's," and she was like, "Oh."
That would be interesting to like twist that around to like biblical. like talking about how the Tourette's in the Bible has led to my mom's Tourette's today, and how it's changed our lives and our experience.
My mom has biblical proportions of Tourette's, is what it would be called.
That's a really long title, already longer than what ours is in its long. So there's that. Shout out to Joseph again.
Yeah.
Because you better watch this last episode that just came out today.
Yeah, you bum.
Which is last week when you're watching this now, and make it to the end because this is important. Anyway, that was unnecessary because this is the future. Shout out to my cousin Jackson again, if you're still watching. You're a real G.
Action Jackson.
And shout out to my friend Josh. He does a podcast with me. It's called the My Mom Has Tourette's podcast, and he's been a little bit quiet in this section. He's probably playing Fallout.
Friends. Shout out to my mother.
Shout out to my mom.
Anyways, where can we be found?
We can be found.
We can't be found in real life.
Podcasting platforms all across the board, except for Apple, because LOL. And we can also be found on YouTube, which if you're watching this, you're probably watching it on YouTube. If you're listening to it, well, we can be found on YouTube. My Mom Has Tourette's. And I think it's at My Mom Has Tourette's podcast, I think is our handle. But
you can find us on TikTok.
We should probably know that, but we don't.
I mean, yeah, it's either that or My Mom Has Tourette's. I can find that out very quickly, though. My mom has
Shouldn't you already know if your mom has Tourette's?
Well,
this is true.
Oh, I guess it's just at My Mom Has Tourette's. So that's cool.
Dope.
So there's that, and you can find us in all these places. Give us likes, give us thumbs up, give us nuggies, any of that, whatever you want. We just appreciate you being here and listening to us ramble on about crap, and then ramble about having no lives, and then ramble about a game we played. And then other stuff like that. We enjoy doing this. We have a good time. We all wish we had a little bit more time in our lives to maybe focus on stuff like this a little bit more. But we enjoy what time we do have to give to it. And we're hoping to continue doing this for the foreseeable future. But yeah, likes and subscribes and thumbs up and share with your friends, word of mouth or over the internet, whatever you want to do. We always appreciate it. Any final parting words, gentlemen?
Konnichiwa.
That was a really boring outro. Love you.
It was.